You're probably only pickling tomatoes, but I'm fermenting cabbage. Look, I just poured it in, see? No vinegar, no sugar, everything's natural, everything's tasty. Teach me how to make a hot dish too, let's go. Here we have a jar. I've sterilized it. No need to tell me, you know how much. People commented under the cucumbers asking why sterilize the jar. Idiot. The product inside isn't sterilized. I'm not sure. This jar was in the shed. Maybe a mouse peed on it. If you want, don't sterilize it. But with tomatoes and cucumbers, it's not critical when you do it this way, like with tomatoes. But tomatoes themselves are more finicky. I recommend sterilizing both the jar and lid, but it's your choice. I always sterilize them. We have here horseradish. This kind of horseradish, it's sold. I cut up one big horseradish leaf and we throw it in. We have some cherry leaves. Well, I really love spicy tomatoes and cucumbers. I love everything spicy, so I add quite a lot of them. About 10 pieces I throw them in. You can add 3 pieces and that will be enough. A couple of dill flower heads, the ones with the seeds. You can also add a couple more sprigs of dill, but basically the seeds will give enough flavor. Now about 5 bay leaves. About a teaspoon of black pepper and around 9 or 10 allspice berries. You can toss all this in. The key is the technique. How do you seal it? And what about the spices? Well, this is my version. It's very spicy. Basil, if you have fresh, add a few sprigs. Tomatoes and basil pair perfectly. I don't, so I'm using dried. Yes, it might float in the brine later or settle at the bottom. It won't look very aesthetic to me, but it'll taste better. Tomatoes and basil are just the best. Mustard seeds. Well, you can see for yourself how much I took. It's quite a lot for a teaspoon. I have 5 cloves of garlic and they're not small. I'll cut them like this. Not too finely, but also... And everything goes in here as well. Now the onion. Onion goes really well with tomatoes, and by the way, it turns out crispy and actually very tasty. That's why I'm using 1 onion here. It's not too big. I'll add it in as well. In here. Sweet pepper. 2, so to speak. Sides. I just made up a new word. Haha. You don't need the seeds in there. And I throw them in too. Sweet pepper also goes really well with tomatoes. Hot pepper. Mine is a little wilted, but that's okay. Nothing will happen to it. I throw in 2 of them just because I really love hot peppers. If you don't like them, you don't have to add them at all. It's a matter of personal preference, you know. But I add them because people mentioned it in the comments. Spiciness is a matter of taste. Now the tomatoes. You can do it this way or you can skip it, but it speeds up the process. So what we're doing is make a few small holes with a toothpick where the stem was, and that's it. We toss it in. Now I'll show you my superpower, though I don't know its source. For the last 2 cucumber recipes, people commented on this thing, not the recipe. Look, my hand fits through. My hand fits in the jar. Everyone was shocked. I don't know how. That's just how it is. My hand is small, you know? Convenient, right? Of course, we don't pack them in too tightly, but still. Pack them tightly like this so they stay in place and don't float up later. Why? Because mold can form right on the tomato and you don't want that. They're pickled, so you don't need that. You can put a horseradish leaf on top, but I don't do that. Everything works out for me anyway. For 1 liter of water, 2 heaping tablespoons of salt. So I have 2 liters here, which means I add 4 tablespoons. My water is boiled and cooled. You can use some bottled water, but not tap water because tomatoes are finicky. It's better to be safe than sorry with tap water. Maybe everything will be fine too. But again, it's better to boil it, add the salt, then cool it down. Or cool it first, add the salt, mix it well, and then pour it in. Now I'll stir in the salt and we'll pour it in. Everything is mixed, let's pour it in. I always make extra brine. Got it. Just cover it now with a lid. Covered. Leave this jar somewhere warm at room temperature. It's summer now. Put it on the table. Make sure to put a plate or a small pot underneath it, because during the fermentation process some of the brine will leak out and they will ferment for 5-7 days. The brine should become cloudy and the smell should change. It should have a distinct aroma. We leave this for 5-7 days. And then I'll show you how everything has changed and how it should look, how it was supposed to look. If you eat these tomatoes fresh instead of preserving them for winter, they're very healthy due to fermentation and prebiotics. The role of the preservative here is played by lactic acid, which will naturally appear during the process produced by lactic acid bacteria. We leave everything for 5 to 7 days. And we'll see each other soon. Friends, it's probably been about 6 days. To be honest, I never really keep track. I just know that after 5 to 7 days, everything is basically fine. So I just roughly counted, well, days. Yeah, it's probably been 6 days for us. Look at what we've got. How do you determine it? Over there in the little dish, look. This is what dripped down. Why use a plate underneath? The drips run down the jar. It was fermenting. Everything was bubbling here. This is what it looks like now. There's a little bit of foam. Well, it could have been worse. It could have been better. First of all, let's smell it. You'll notice the acidity by the smell. You'll sense a sour note. Secondly, you can do this. Well, it's pretty obvious as it is, but if you're worried, you can do this. Take a little spoon and... it's already a bit sour. That is, there's a nice sourness present. That means it's ready. Plus, if you look closely at the tomatoes, I don't know, maybe you won't be able to see it. There's a slight, well, there's a bit of cloudiness that appears in the brine, and maybe a slight sediment on the tomatoes. Everything is ready. You can see it well here. It's floating. If you can see it, great. If not, sorry, the camera doesn't capture everything. Almost done. We take the pot and pour the brine, preferably so it doesn't go everywhere. Just like I do. We put it on the stove. That's it. We bring it to a boil and pour everything in. We just pour it in now. I forgot to mention. At this stage, you could have easily added a tablespoon of sugar here while you were boiling it, and that would balance out the taste a bit. Well, who likes it? Me? The thing is, I actually like these kinds of tomatoes completely without sugar. That's all. I sterilized the lid again by pouring boiling water over it. It's optional, do it if you want. Well, tomatoes are still a pretty finicky thing, so I still prefer to sterilize everything completely. We seal it up and that's it. By the way, I have a channel on Telegram about canning machines. For those who were interested about all sorts of machines like this, different sealing keys. I have articles, everyone check them out. We remove it, turn it upside down with the lid down and wrap it in something warm like a blanket until it cools. And we enjoy it in the winter. They'll be ready in about 2 months. Don't open them before then so they can develop great flavor. Guys, thanks to everyone who watched. If you like this kind of fermentation topic, give it a like and share the video. I see that the cucumbers have found their audience. They've gained some good traction. On TikTok, it's about 60% with tens of thousands of views. That's why I keep going, but if a video flops, I stop. Goodbye everyone, thank you all.